China. Where is it? The People's Republic of China, one of the largest countries in the world, covers a significant part in the Asian continent. With more than 9.5 million square kilometers of land, China is almost as large as the entire continent of Europe. Along its borders lie many other countries, including Russia, India, North Korea, and Vietnam. In all, China has about 14,500 kilometers of coastline. The East and South China Seas border the eastern and southeastern edge of the mainland. China has several large cities, including Hong Kong, Beijing, Shanghai. Beijing, the capital city, is more than 3,000 years old, making it one of the world's oldest cities. Today, Beijing is a mix of ancient and modern skyscrapers, subways, and fast food restaurants. Give the country's modern character as they stand beside ancient structures, including temples, monuments, and courtyards. The Forbidden City, a massive palace built during the 15th century, was the home of Chinese emperors for hundreds of years. The name comes from the fact that only the empire could enter every room in it. Today, the palace is a museum located on the coast of the East China Sea. Shanghai is China's largest city, its largest industrial center, and one of the world's largest ports. Great numbers of people move there each year to work, contributing to the population of more than 20 million people. As many as 50,000 people per square kilometer live in its most popular section. More than one and a half times as many people as it is in the most crowded part of New York City. People. With more than 1.3 billion people, China has the largest population of any country in the world. In comparison, about 316 million people live in the United States, a population about one-fourth of the size of China's. More than half of the Chinese population lives in towns and villages. People who live in rural regions often grow crops and raise livestock, while people who live in towns and villages may manufacture goods as well as perform other jobs. Many people also live in large cities, which are centers of trade and business. Most Chinese people speak Mandarin, which means common language. People in different regions may speak dialects of Mandarin. Chinese people speak many other languages as well, including Cantonese and English. Unlike English, which uses an alphabet to represent the individual sound that makes up words, Chinese writing uses characters that represent entire words or part of words. Experts estimate around 2000 BC, making it one of the world's oldest. Some characters resemble what they mean. For example, the character of the word mountain actually looks like a mountain peaks. An educated Chinese person knows on average about 4,000 characters, although the language contains tens of thousands. In the Chinese education system, students must attend school for 9 years. After that, they can continue their education by going to secondary school, which can be followed by job training or university. Getting into university, however, is very difficult, and only a small number of students are admitted each year. Land. Chinese vastness means it contains many different types of landforms. The mountain ranges of the southern regions are some of the country's most outstanding features. Mountains cover about one-third of the country, and one famous mountain range, the Himalayas, contains many of the highest mountains in the world, including the tallest, Mount Everest. Mount Everest rises 8,850 meters on the border between China and Nepal. Mountains can also be found in the western parts of the country, along with plateaus. The eastern part of the country is a lowland area with forests and woodlands. And it is this area of the country that contains China's largest cities. China also contains a huge desert, which stretches across 1,600 kilometers of the northern region. The Gobi Desert borders Mongolia. The name Gobi means waterless place, and like all deserts, the Gobi receives little rainfall. It has total annual rainfall ranging from 5 centimeters in the western part to 20 centimeters in the northeastern part. Even though the Gobi Desert is a harsh environment, people do manage to live there. Those who make their home in this desert are nomadic herders who use underground water sources to graze cattle, sheep, goats, and camels. In addition to the lifestyle of the herders, Gobi is home to wild camels, gazelles, and China's rare wild horses. China also has thousands of rivers, the longest being the Yangtze River, which runs for 6,300 kilometers. The Yangtze is an important means of transporting both people and goods. The Yangtze River basin is known as the granary of the country. The basin is home to about half of the country's agriculture, including the largest amount of rice farming. Other grain crops grown in the river basin include barley, wheat, and corn. Animals. One of China's most famous animals is the giant panda. This member of bear family is very rare. So rare, in fact, that scientists think only about 1,600 are left in the wild. Their population has decreased in this small number because their habitat in the mountains of central China has been lost. Giant pandas live in forests and eat only bamboo, but many China's bamboo forests have been cleared for agriculture, timber, and fuel. To save the giant panda, China has created special nature reservations. In addition, scientists in China and other countries have tried to breed giant pandas in captivity. However, the animals do not reproduce well outside their native habitat, and only in recent years have baby pandas been born in captivity. The Chinese alligator is one of the only 2 alligator species in the world. Smaller than its American cousin, the alligator's native habitat lies in the Yangtze River. Like the giant panda, its numbers have been greatly reduced due to habitat loss, and only a few hundred remain in the wild. Scientists have had great luck breeding the Chinese alligator in captivity. However, they are working with farmers along the Yangtze to keep alligators safe in their native habitat. The golden snub-nosed monkey is truly an odd sight, not because of its golden fur, but also its blue face. This primate is found in the forests of central China, but it also suffers from habitat loss. China has set aside reserves to help the monkeys to keep some of their habitat, and the animals are also bred in captivity. History. China is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Scientific evidence has shown that for the earliest humans lived in China about 770,000 to 230,000 years ago. For thousands of years, emperors ruled China. Sometimes emperors from the same family ruled parts of China for hundreds of years. These periods of time are known as dynasties. The first dynasty that left written history is the Shang dynasty, which began around 1600 BC. Other dynasties include Zhou, Qin, Han, Jing, Tan, Song, and Ming. The Qin dynasty has several important contributions of China history. The Qin Emperor Xing Huangdi, who ruled from 259 to 210 BC, ordered a wall built to keep out invaders. Other emperors, especially those of the Ming dynasty, continued to build the wall for nearly 2,000 years. Today, it is known as the Great Wall, even though it is actually a series of walls throughout northern China and southern Mongolia. One section of the Great Wall runs about 8,850 kilometers and ranges from 5 to 8 meters wide. The ancient Chinese made great advances and invented many things. One invention, the abacus, was an early way of doing complex mathematical calculations. The ancient Chinese invented the magnetic compass, which helped early sailors navigate. They also invented gunpowder to blast rocks apart and make fireworks. The ancient Chinese were also the first to make fabric from silk. It became the country's most popular export, and people traveled from around the world on a trade route called the Silk Road to get it. The fibers used to make silk from the cocoons or silkworms. The ancient Chinese discovered that they could separate the fibers from the cocoon and then spin the fibers together to make a strong thread. The thread was woven together to make beautiful cloth. In 1912, China went through massive changes. War with Japan and internal strife ended the Qing dynasty, and China became a republic. After many years of political turmoil and conflict, the Chinese Communist Party (CCP) took control of the government in 1949. Conclusion: China is a fascinating mix of ancient and modern, rural and urban. China's old history has influenced the world in many ways. Its diverse people reflect their history and their unique and interesting cultures, stretching across much of Asia, landscape between breathtaking mountains, huge deserts, and ancient rivers. People from all over the world visit China's amazing structures. If you were to visit China, where would you want to go first?